Welcome to a point for reflection for Thursday, the 25th of June, 2020. I don't know if you've watched the Shrek movies. In one of the films, there is a wonderful scene where, on the journey to far, far away, Donkey wants to know, "Are we there yet?" And during the scene, the question is asked over and over again, much to the annoyance of Fiona and Shrek. When they finally persuade Donkey to entertain himself, Donkey starts making annoying popping noises. They just don't seem to be able to win. In some ways, we've all been there, when it is not just the younger children who are finding the journey a bit too long and a bit too tiresome. For some people, that sense of frustration lasts for a certain circumstance. It can be the desire for a much longed for child, or it can be the desire for something to end, from as trivial as a trip to the supermarket, or waiting for the exam results, both medical and educational. But life includes this element of waiting quite regularly, and it is something we all have to put up with and live through. For others, it can be about life itself. There are people who just want life as they know it to end. Sometimes that is for people who have lived to a great age and it's no longer living, just existing. For some who live in war zones or with extreme poverty or with prejudice, it can be a daily cry. That sense of frustration, waiting and longing is captured well by the psalmist. This is the first 4 verses of Psalm 13. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I bear pain in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day long? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep the sleep of death, and my enemy will say, I have prevailed. My foes will rejoice because I am shaken. The context of many of the Psalms is unknown, and many are attributed to David, who was an Israelite king, shepherd and harpist. But the Psalms themselves endure so well because many of them deal with common human emotions and human reactions. I suspect many of us could have cried out, "How long?" on more than one occasion. There is an element where the psalmist could be quite broken before these words are uttered, when the last of his internal resources are depleted and he has nothing left to offer or rely on, nothing left with which to make resolution. Yet I've also observed people who endure the greatest of trials in life, for all sorts of reasons: health, financial, prejudice. Sometimes these are endured with great grace and serenity, but on other occasions people really struggle. We all react differently, and sometimes the reaction can appear worse for the observer than the sufferer, who can deal with things with that great sense of acceptance, though sometimes these things are dealt with by denying their existence at all. I wonder if you ever have that feeling like you need the world to stop, to pause, so you can take stock of what is going on. I think it's quite normal to feel like that after a bereavement, when we need space and time for grief as well as time and space for healing. But we are often expected to carry on as if nothing has happened. I wonder if we need that as churches. This period of enforced lockdown has in many ways been terrible, with great suffering and great loss of life over the country. And many seem to be asking the question, how long, O Lord? I have heard people saying how they just want to get back to normal. But if we rush into things, will we have missed this God-given moment to ask the question of God? Life seems to have been on hold through this time, and there have been some real heart-wrenching experiences related through our media, which has brought its own stresses and anxieties. But for many, this period has brought less stress to the everyday rush of normal existence. So many times we ask questions and already know the answer we want or expect, and we seem to do that of God. What if the answer to the question, in this time, is an answer we don't expect, that really throws us a curveball? It has long been commented on that the way we have always done things may not be the way things are done in the future, but there has been huge resistance towards any kind of significant change. Yet this period has meant a huge need to adapt and change and try new things which may speak to us of the way forward. Some people have surprised us by learning new skills on Zoom and Facebook, for example. Another thing the Psalms do is leave out the bit where any resolution takes place. Some experts seem to think the Psalms were not written in one go, but over a period of time. So the questions are asked of God, then the answer or resolution comes, and the psalm concludes with praise or thanksgiving for that resolution. This is the final two verses, verses 5 and 6 of Psalm 13. But I trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. I wonder if we will make such a claim when the churches come to the end of lockdown. It will depend on how we have asked the questions of God and how prepared we are to listen for the answers God is giving to us, and in reality has probably been trying to tell us for a while. We have placed more importance on the answers we want to hear than noticing the God-inspired direction. It would be helpful to know the psalmist's resolution. Was it the expected, or something the psalmist would never have thought of in his wildest dreams? If, as God's people, we truly trusted God, would we not be prepared to step out in faith and go on new journeys? It is a constant theme in the scriptures, from Abraham and Sarah to Jeremiah to the disciples to Paul, and even Jesus as he prays, "My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me, yet not what I want, but what you want." What if the psalmist's words were God's words to us? How long, O people, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? Perhaps we would add, how long will God's agenda look so different to our church council agendas? How long before this world reflects God's kingdom? How long before we put people before buildings? How long before we all learn Black Lives Matter? How long before all people are included? The resolution to our questions of God and God's questions to us will only come when we take the time to discover the resolution together. Loving God, remove our fear of the questions, whether we need to rant at you or you need to ask of us. Remove our fear of the answers, so we can start with a clean sheet, take a new direction, and journey with you. Stir in us the desire to find resolution between what we do and the redemptive work of your kingdom. Stir in us the need to discover what you are saying to us. Grow in us a curiosity for your wisdom and your ways. Grow in us a willingness to be your resolution in our broken world. For we trust in your steadfast love, and you have dealt bountifully with us. Amen.